welcome to day 7 of the 100 Days of Shakespeare. Tonight we are taking a very quick look at some words. So firstly though, g'day, my name's Paul. I am the Director of Small Crown Productions, and I'm taking part in the 100 Days of Shakespeare event that is being run by Carolina Furman, a member of the Society for Creative Anachronism, the SCA. And you can join in with this event if you wish by joining the Facebook group, which I will link up in the description below. So the whole idea behind the 100 Days of Shakespeare is to take an opportunity at your own pace to investigate the life, the work, and times of William Shakespeare. So you look at the plays, look at the time that he lived, Elizabethan era, anything that you want to investigate around his work, his life, and his times that really kind of takes your fancy. So I love this as an idea. The whole premise of it is that it is done at your own pace and at your own effort level. So if you are busy and don't have time to do a lot, then you can just do what you can. The Facebook group is getting a collection of resources together, which is exciting. So if you are someone that's looking to study Shakespeare, that could be a great place for you to go and find other resources that you can tap into in order to deepen your research. So there's a great list of podcasts and websites and things starting to be compiled over there. So I definitely encourage you to go and check that out. So tonight, what I wanted to do was just spend a few minutes looking at another PowerPoint presentation. But basically tonight looking at, and I'll just get the transition happening here. Nope. Yes, there it is. 5 words that Shakespeare used that have different meanings today. So, if you know anything about Shakespeare, you'll know that, he's accredited to have coined a number of phrases and words that we now use fairly regularly in the English language. But the other thing that's happened over a period of time, and this is common with any language, is that words change their meanings. And so I just thought I would look at 5 fairly common words tonight and just see what the original meaning of them was. And sometimes it's one of the meanings. So these definitions are all taken from Alexander Schmidt's Lexicon and Quotation dictionary. So what you'll find with a lot of words, well, in those particular books anyway, what they're great at is identifying the specific meaning for the word in its context. And so you might find a single word, and we've got a couple in this list here that have multiple meanings depending on the specific context that it is being used in. So I think it's a great thing to look at and just open up that dialogue. So of course, if you know of any others, then please feel free to drop them in the comments below. I think it's a great thing for us to share and talk about. So let's kick on the first one. Oh, and that's my references coming from the Shakespeare Lexicon Quotation Dictionary. So the first word I want to look at is the word an, just A-N. Now, this had a few different meanings. The most common in our modern vernacular is that it is the form of a before an initial vowel sound. So these modern definitions are taken from dictionary.com, so you can look those up yourself. So, we use this to identify something, and usually it's something that starts with either a vowel or the letter H as a soft H. So it might be an hour, it might be an anachronism, an object, an archive. So we use that as an identifier before words generally that start with vowel sounds or the soft H. But in Shakespeare's time, he had a couple of different meanings for it. And most commonly, it meant either and, so it was the shortened form of and we see that in Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 3, Scene 2, where Demetrius says, "And if I could, what should I get therefore?" So that's just the shortened form of and. But it also meant if, and is often mistaken for the word and in our modern thinking. But again, much ado about nothing in Act 1, Scene 1. Beatrice says, "No, and if he were, I would burn my study." So in that context, the word an actually means if. So if he were, I would burn my study. And when you realize that, that line makes a little bit more sense. And so that's something to look out for, and just think about that when you're looking at the word an. So I've done these in alphabetical order. The second word we're going to look at is brave. So you might know the modern form of brave is, not that, valiant or courageous. And so that's the modern meaning. Now, it actually still had that meaning for Shakespeare as well, but additionally, and quite often, he used it to mean fine, splendid, or beautiful. So rather than it being, a term just about courageousness, it was actually often used to reference anything that was, quite splendid and quite beautiful. And so in this example, Caliban in The Tempest in Act 2, Scene 2 says, "There's a brave god and bears celestial liquor." So he's actually saying there's a fine, a splendid, or a beautiful god when he's referring to the liquor. So brave, meaning fine, splendid, or beautiful. Our third one, mere, not meerkat. You might know mere in the modern sense as being nothing more or better than. So it's something small, it's inconsequential, it's a mere flesh wound, it's nothing that I need to worry about. But Shakespeare's use of it actually meant absolute. So it was absolute, all-encompassing, it was complete. And so in As You Like It, Act 2, Scene 7, where Jacques has the 7 stages of man speech, he says, "In second childishness and mere oblivion." So not small oblivion, absolute oblivion. So he's referencing there to all-encompassing oblivion. So mere, meaning absolute. Our fourth word, this is going to be a very quick one this evening, is sad. And so sad in the modern meaning obviously is upset. You're upset about something. But Shakespeare used it to mean grave or serious. So there's actually quite a lot of references in Shakespeare's play where he uses the word sad, and it's often in the modern thinking taken to be someone who's upset, and they will play that scene as though they are upset about something. But actually, they should be playing it as though that person is deadly serious about what they're talking about, which may not be sad at all. It may just be, absolute, forceful intention and absolutely serious. And so an example of that in Much Ado, Act 1, Scene 1, Benedict says, "But speak you this with a sad brow." Speak you this so seriously? What? I don't understand this. Will I never see a bachelor of 70 again? Is it 70 or 40? 70, I think. So, this is often a word that's mistaken in our modern thinking just purely to mean upset, but often was referring to someone being serious. And our fifth word this evening, stem. And this is an odd one. So in our modern thinking, we think of a stem. The first thing we think of is a stalk, the stalk that supports a leaf or a flower, so something related to plant life. But Shakespeare used this. Now, it did mean that also in Shakespeare's plays, so there are references to stems in that way. But the other meaning of it was to oppose. And so a great example of that is in Henry IV, Part 3, Act 4, Scene 6, where Edward says, "Command an argosy to stem the waves, to oppose the waves, to hold them back." So, again, if you aren't aware that word has two meanings, you might not realize it. In that particular line, you might pick up what the meaning was based on its context. And an argosy is a large merchantman. So, command a large merchantman to hold back, to oppose the waves. So, get a big guy to try and hold the waves back and see how that goes. So there you go, very, very quick this evening, but 5 words that we have one meaning for in modern times and Shakespeare used in a very different way. So it's definitely something I encourage you to dig into, and as part of your research, particularly if you're performing any Shakespeare, is to actually dig into the words, and even the words that seem common and seem normal to you in their meaning, definitely check them out. And have a look at them just to make sure that it isn't a word that had a different meaning when Shakespeare was using it back in the day. So that's it. Just a really quick one this evening. Just wanted to have a look at a few words and get your mind thinking about that when you're going out to work on Shakespeare and his plays, and realize that that is a thing. You may not have been aware that that was a thing. It's definitely a thing. So encourage you to check that out when you are researching his plays. That's it. Thanks so much. If you got anything out of this, it would be great if you gave this video a like and subscribe. And of course, if you got something out of it, there's a good chance that you know somebody else who would as well. So share it with them, tag them in the comments, whatever you can do to pay it forward, so we can just keep helping each other out. That's what it's all about. Share the love, share the knowledge, and we can all grow together. So subscribe to the channel, and there will be another video popping up around here so that you can have a look at another video in this playlist.